Will this finally be the game that satisfies my long, long awaited hunger for Dead Space 4? Let's get into it. I have always loved the Dead Space franchise, ever since its first original game was released back in October of 2018. I must have played through Isaac's horrific walkthrough of the Ishimura probably over 20 times. I really couldn't get enough of the game. So without getting too long-winded on the Dead Space franchise, right, I'd like to say I love Dead Space 2, especially I was a big fan of the pack, right? You know, the way they'd throw themselves at you with that shrieking noise and all the ambience in the world. That was pretty cool. Even though, yes, it was more of an action horror experience, not a true-to-form horror game like the original that just knocked it out of the park, I think I'd probably, selfishly give it a 9 out of 10. Dead Space 2 deserves a lot of praise. Then, last but not least, but probably least, if you've played it, we've obviously got Dead Space 3, which I won't say much about because it missed the mark. It was just, Dead Space 2, we kind of talked about it just now, how it was an action horror game, and then Dead Space 3 was just an action game. It's like Fast and Furious going from racing to just, a military movie with exotic cars. I don't know how else to word it. So then the Dead Space remake comes out, right, in 2023, which was, it was amazingly well done. The Ishimura really never felt so alive as it did in the remake. Even the parts that, they had redone or reshaped, I guess, where one of them that I could reference is you go into Captain Matthias's room, right, and you have to get his rig, and in the original, you just pick it up. You don't pick it up, you do see him change, but it's short-lived, right? And then in the remake, there was basically a cutscene to go with that, and it was so well done. Still, though, right, it's a remake, well done. It's not Dead Space 4, okay? So then we get, in this genre, this space survival horror experience, right, we get the Callisto Protocol. A game that many thought, could live up to the hype. A game made in the mind by none other than the man himself, Glenn Schofield. When I watched the trailer and I saw they were working with Josh Duhamel, it also intrigued me. Big fan of Josh. Glenn just kept pitching more horror with everything that I was watching on it, all the marketing, the podcast. I listened to that a little bit.
That one came out of the pod, similar to the chest and stuff.
Yeah, no, I like them. Feels like a couple more here and there throughout the game. Ramping it up. Do you have a place where you do like 2 or 3?
Just, again, it was just more horror. So I was like, man, I feel really good about this. I think that they're really going to, go back to, I don't want to say their roots, right? Because it's Striking Distance Studios. It was their first game. But I really thought that this was, because it was Glenn, they were going to go back to the closest thing that they could get to the original Dead Space. So, again, it made me feel really good about what the game could have been. Obviously, with it being Glenn, the co-creator of Dead Space, I thought immediately, like I said, that it'd go back to the original. But sadly, it did not. I ordered the collector's edition of the game. I was super hyped. And while I wasn't necessarily disappointed, it definitely didn't live up to the hype. I think I was more satisfied with the figure I got with the collector's edition than I was from the actual gameplay. It looked great, but, nowadays it sucks and it's sad because games are so hard to make. But it isn't enough for a game to look good. It's got to look good, feel good, play good. There has to be enough to do, and yes, this isn't an open world game. It's more of a linear experience, but still, you get what I mean. It's not enough for a game to look good nowadays. It's gotta be fun, right? The audio and sound design were obviously, they were well done, but they put a lot of work into that. I think that they built something. I could be wrong, but I think that they had like this custom built piece of tech or something that they were creating sound from.
The apprehension engine is something that Hollywood has used. It's brand new. It's this crazy invention, right? It's a weird looking thing and it's got metal on it and strings and stuff. And the sounds it makes are just awful.
Like I kind of hit it on. It felt too linear and, to be honest, easy. Like the Callisto Protocol felt very easy. Swinging the stun baton and being able to just endlessly dodge, by effortlessly moving my joystick was just too easy. It felt way too easy, even with the harder enemies. Was the game scary? Not really, because like I said, it felt easy. I didn't ever feel like it's a survival horror game, but I never felt like I had to survive. I felt like I was always okay. Did Glenn's pitch of more horror really get delivered? No. Did I enjoy my 2 playthroughs because I wanted to play on a harder difficulty to see if maybe it would be harder? Yes. Even though it wasn't that much harder, because again, the dodge mechanic it's way too easy. A big turnoff for me was how they abruptly they ended the game, making it look painfully unfinished, and then adding the ending with it just as a DLC. That's all I'll say. Just not good. Now, finally, okay, if you made it this far, thank you. A new 2025 IP that can possibly deliver on this immense hunger, like I said, that I've had for this space survival horror experience, and that's Cronos: The New Dawn. This game looks great. I saw online that we may get a possible showcase on March 20th at the Future Games show, I think it is, which would be at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for me. But based on what I've seen, like I said, this game looks very promising. The cinematic trailer, oh my god, dude. Whoever did that deserves a raise. Like the chess game, taking place, it seems almost like a metaphor, right? Like there's something more than just a chess game as you watch the character get, beat and reach for the woman. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. I'll probably throw some into this video. But, I had so much going through my head at this moment, man. Like, the woman for a second reminded me of that lady from the movie Legion. If you guys know what I'm talking about. She's, like, crawling on the ceiling and shit. But then, at the end, he grabs her, right? So, but then that made me think of the movie, like, when they're sitting there, I got, like, the Get Out vibe, maybe thinking that he was, like, in a trance state or something. I don't know. But a couple movie references, I guess. But, such a good trailer. I'm not sure I completely know, like, what was going on as far as a storyline or premise of the game, I guess, because I saw a chair floating with, crazy fast humanoid creatures as well. Like, are we getting poltergeists in the game with these creatures, or, like, what is exactly going on there? I don't know. But still, nonetheless, I'm really excited. Honestly, like, most of what it reminded me of, like watching the trailer, it looked like Zero G from Dead Space, right? Which was, everybody, if you didn't like the Zero G in Dead Space, man, what are you talking about? The Zero G in Dead Space was a lot of fun. So, even looking at how the weapon on his arm had changed, I immediately thought of the plasma cutter from Dead Space. The only other gripe, I guess I'd say, besides not really knowing what's going on in the story, which of course we don't really know anything about the game yet. They've released almost nothing about it. I would say probably like the enemy variations, but again, thinking on it, I probably can't even really say that, because how can I say that when we really know nothing about the game? There's probably, to my knowledge, who knows, maybe there's 10, 15 different enemy variations. I have no idea. But yeah, that's I guess what I would say just off of like judging the trailer, right? And then maybe, I guess, I guess I would say probably the suit, because when I saw the suit right away, I thought of a Big Daddy from BioShock, and yeah, I know, I get it. The character in this game is much smaller than a Big Daddy, but like the helmet really had me thinking Big Daddy from BioShock right off the bat. And another thing, this wouldn't be a gripe at all, but just more, I really hope that they do this, and that is put in integrated UI, just like Dead Space did, where, they have the, holograms for the weapons, maybe the HP bar on the suit somewhere, anything like that. I don't know what we're going to have, telekinesis, anything yet. So, but if they have some type of a integrated UI system, that is going to be fantastic for the game for sure. Again, to circle back, not a lot of gripes at all. I mean, like I said, I feel like I can't. We don't know anything yet. But I really hope this game delivers at a high level. I'm very, very excited for Bloober Team after that Silent Hill 2 remake. And I really think that they can deliver for us. I really do. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. Sorry if I got too long-winded about Dead Space. If you guys love Dead Space as much as I do, I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. Are you excited for this game? Do you think, even though EA canceled a Dead Space 4, the Dead Space 4 game, I think twice now, you think it'll ever happen? Let me know. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. Smash that like button, maybe sub to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.